Hello everyone. In this video I want to show you how you can very easily calculate McDonald's omega composite reliability for factor analysis based on SPSS or Mplus output files using a gadget that is freely available on the internet. My name is Geiser. On this channel I present weekly statistics tutorials related to multivariate statistical methods, oftentimes something about factor analysis or structural equation modeling or latent class analysis, and often involving the Mplus software. If this is something that interests you, then please subscribe to this channel. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and to check out the description for additional resources. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can pretty easily calculate McDonald's omega as a composite reliability coefficient. Oftentimes McDonald's omega is used when you have measures, items, or scales of a factor that have different loadings. So when we typically wouldn't want to use something like Cronbach's alpha, when we have congeneric measures in the sense of classical test theory, so when the items or variables have different factor loadings and they're not tau equivalent or essentially tau equivalent, but only congeneric. And so you can see this here from the formula for McDonald's omega, where we have the lambdas here, so the factor loadings, meaning different variables can have different factor loadings, and that needs to be taken into account when we compute the aggregate of the reliability across M test components. So the purpose of this formula is to find out how reliable is the composite or sum score across a set of M test score variables when, so to say, a test consists of M components, and we want to know not only how reliable is each component, but also we want to know how reliable is the composite or sum when we aggregate all those M components to an overall score. So you can see here in this formula we have the loadings lambda, we have the factor variance or true score variance here, variance F, so that's the common factor that these congeneric measures load on. So we should test the congeneric measurement model first, meaning a single factor model with different loadings. We should fit that to our data and see if that fits, and then if it does fit, then we can derive McDonald's omega from the parameter estimates of that single factor model. We also have the epsilon variances here, so those are the error variances. And so this is a pretty complex formula to use by hand, and so typically we wouldn't really like to do this by hand because it's complicated and we might make some mistakes. And so I want to show you here how you can get this very easily without having to do any kinds of hand calculations. So let's take a look at how you can do this for the following example. So I'm going to show you this for an example where I have 4 subscales of a test of numerical processing speed. This test is called Zahlenverbindungstest. It's a German measure of numerical processing speed for example, children and teenagers. And so the goal here is to connect numbers that are randomly scattered around a piece of paper in the correct order, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, as fast as possible. And so, for example, the students are given, let's say, a minute, and then they have to connect as many numbers as possible in the correct order, and at the end, so say the score is how many numbers were they able to correctly connect in that given amount of time. So that's the score for each of those subtests, and there are 4 of them, so ZVT A, B, C, and D. And so we might want to know, first of all, how reliable is each of these subscales, and then second, we would like to know if we aggregate those 4 subscales to an overall score, how reliable is that overall score or composite, and we can address that with, for example, McDonald's omega. So how can we do this? So one way to do this, if you don't have access to a program for structural equation modeling such as Mplus or Lavan or AMES, you can actually use SPSS for that. And this is something that a lot of people don't know or don't realize because they think SPSS is only a program for exploratory factor analysis, not confirmatory factor analysis. And that's true. However, you can, so to say, trick SPSS into fitting a single factor model at least. You couldn't really do multiple factor confirmatory factor models, but you can trick SPSS into giving you a solution for a single factor model that is exactly equivalent to a congeneric model that would be fit, for example, in Mplus or Lavan. And so the way to do this is by choosing the exploratory factor analysis option in SPSS and choosing maximum likelihood estimation. You can see here maximum likelihood in the table node was chosen as the extraction method, so you can pick that. And then also force SPSS into extracting only one factor. So that's all you need to do, is pick maximum likelihood estimation as the estimation method or extraction method, and then tell SPSS force the solution to have only one factor. And then what you will get is a fit test, a chi-square test of model fit, like you would get for a program like Mplus or in a program like Mplus. And also you get a matrix of standardized factor loading. So that's called a factor matrix, and those standardized factor loadings that you get here are exactly equivalent to what you would get, for example, in Mplus for a completely standardized solution. So those you get, and you also get the R-squared values or communalities in SPSS, meaning the reliabilities of the individual subscales, and those are just simply the standardized factor loading squared. So you can see how reliable each of these subscales is. And so here you can see the standardized loadings are relatively high but not so high, so let's say around 0.8. If you square 0.8 you get 0.64. So about reliabilities have values, or the individual subscales have reliabilities around 0.64 or a little bit around that. So now we would like to know, when we aggregate those four subscales to a common score, a sum score, how reliable would that be? Since the individual scores are not so reliable, the R-squared values or squared standardized factor loadings wouldn't be so large. So here we have the same thing in Mplus. In Mplus you find the exact same estimates in the standardized solution STDYX, so that's the completely standardized solution where the factor and the variables are standardized. And so those are the exact same values that we just saw in SPSS. So now, based on those, we can use an online calculator, an online omega calculator that you can find under this link here that is given here at the top, and then at the bottom you find the reference that you can cite for that online composite reliability calculator. And so here you can see all you need to do is you need to tell this calculator how many items you have, meaning how many components of your test. So that's entered here under item number. I entered 4 rows. You can, if you had more than 4, you just click on add item and then you get an additional row to fill out. And then all you need to enter are the standardized factor loadings from either your SPSS output or your Mplus output or whatever program you're using to obtain those standardized factor loadings. And then the program here will automatically calculate the standardized error variances. It'll calculate the item R-squared values, which are equal to the communalities in SPSS and equal to the R-squared values for observed variables in Mplus. So you can see again that the individual reliabilities R-squared for the individual components range between 0.585 for the item with the lowest loading, or the component A with the lowest loading, and then up to 0.711 for the subscale with the highest factor loading. So the individual reliabilities are between 0.585 and 0.711. So meaning that for each subscale between 58.5% and 71.1% of the true score of the observed variance, are represent or reflect true score variance. So there's a relatively large amount of error in these subscales, and you can see this from the error variance. So these standardized error variances can be interpreted as 1 minus R-squared or 1 minus reliability. As you can see here, they always add up to 1 for a given item or subscale, these two columns here, because the error variance is 1 minus R-squared. And so you can see that the amount of error variance is between 28.9% and 41.5%. So there's a large amount of measurement error variance in each subscale. Now, how about the entire scale? So what is the output, so to say? The output you can find here, 0.882. So that's the composite reliability if we were to aggregate those 4 subscales into an overall sum score or an overall test score. Then that overall test score has a reliability of 0.882, which is much higher than each individual subscale. And that makes sense because as we have longer tests with more components, with more items, errors of measurement have more opportunity to average out, and therefore it makes sense that the composite has a higher reliability than each of the components. So if you were to use the entire test score with all the items, from all 4 subscales, then 88.2% of the variance in the overall score are true score variance, and only about 12% of the variance in the sum score represent measurement error variance. So that's a very straightforward way to calculate composite reliability when you have congeneric measures where they load on a single factor and they have different loadings. You can calculate omega very easily based on the standardized factor loadings that you can enter here. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, then please subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. Don't forget to check out the description for additional videos and workshops, and also to sign up for my weekly newsletter. There's a link also in the description, and I'll see you next time.